Hello, and greetings, adventurers of Vera. Welcome to Tavern Talk at the Golden Feather Tavern. We are Vertek and Chibi, keepers of this fine establishment. The Golden Feather Tavern is open to all travelers to come and share their thoughts on the inner workings of Vera over a nice tankard of ale, mead, hot chocolates, or any other delicious beverage of choice. So, raise up your glass, or water bottle in case today, and pull up a chair as we delve into tonight's discussion. Today is the 10th of April, 2024. We are in episode 13, which is dev discussion, Steven updates, and Ash's topics. And Chibi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Fantastic. I'm surviving. Dream is being lived, as I like to say.
Oh my gosh. It's only halfway through the week, but it feels like it's been a long week already, to be fair. But it's always a good time coming on here as a way to relax.
Yes. Look forward to it. Every day I look forward to the next stream we have.
Agreed. So today we're going to be talking about some topics, including our thoughts on the Augment system, Steven's update on Twitter, if you haven't seen it yet, this week's dev discussion, well, I guess this month's dev discussion, and some other topics from Ashes of Creation or on Ashes and or other MMORPGs, depending on what we get to exactly for what those entail. If these topics sound interesting to you and you would like to be a part of our Discord, or if you've been part of our lives previously, we welcome you to join us and discuss what you think and chat with us in voice chat. Otherwise, please feel free to share your thoughts in our chat or in the comments below for those of you over on YouTube. If you like this kind of content, please consider giving us a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure to hit that notification bell if you'd like to see when we post or when we go live. But with that, we have our first topic, which is kind of like our weekly, and I apologize, I definitely dropped the ball on this one. I did not make the Twitter post or the Discord post, but I figured we can still chit chat about it. That is, how would you like to see augments work? And with the fighter showcase, they mentioned how some of the augments are potentially going to be working. We see things like it giving a completely different resource bar and things like that. So I kind of want to know, what are your thoughts on that? Like, they feel like they've gone back and forth a lot throughout the years on how augments will affect your skills. And hello, Nair, welcome in. Oh, your mic is on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I was actually just looking. I need to hop in Discord right quick, so I'm sorry for any noise coming through for you. Let me do that real quick.
Okay. And I'm good on my end.
Okay, there we go. And okay, there we go. There was no crazy entry noise. I love it. I muted all that stuff. All right, so man, I think it should kind of work how it's been stated before, and I guess now where it's gonna kind of fundamentally change how it works. I think it's gonna add a little bit more variety to everything instead of just being strictly flavor. But the problem is with the statement of fundamentally change how a skill works. What one person considers a fundamental change and being something completely different versus being something quite similar with just a little bit of flavor, that can be absolutely a subjective statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you consider like the fundamentals of a skill and like the core parts of it, and what would make it something that a different class would have?
Right. Because then there's also like what Mr. Valentine mentioned. He asked, are we talking about secondary class augments, or are we talking about the skill tree augments that they showed us in the last live stream? So like there's clearly a few ways that you can have your augments. There's the class system, there's your weapons, there's your your religious, your social organization, your racial. There's a lot there. Theoretical law says would be cool if you could take one skill from the secondary class, but might be hard to balance that way. I could see that.
Yeah.
Near
It
says is
would.
a little vague still. Yeah, and the only some augments change the skill radically, probably, and others are more subtle, probably. And my thoughts on this was if there were to be a secondary class mixed with the fighter class, I could totally see it being like cleric because he's got the mana regen, there's the life steal capability, and that's actually that brings up a forum post that I saw where somebody was talking about the fighter being a vampire because of the lifesteal capability.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, I don't know. I feel like there's probably going to be different types of augments, and the fact that the secondary augment, or I think it's a secondary augment, maybe it's a skill tree augment that gives you your own resource bar. I don't know if that's going to be something that's too intensive to manage later down the road, or if that's something that's going to be relatively easy to manage. Will that replace mana? I don't know. And I feel like it kind of comes down to getting to know how it plays and things like that. Sir Onsington says fighters already have so much self-sustain, ban them from the holy orders. um, Nara says, I hope we get some cool religious and society augments too, maybe even from storylines and major quest arcs. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe some things that you can only gain from completing a specific arc. Unfortunately, that means if you join later in the game, or if you join a different node later in the game, you lose out on that augment, but you might have your own augment that they lost out on. There's a variety there.
Yeah. And I think near the religious and society augments you're talking about, I think those are probably going to be a whole lot more flavor than anything.
Yeah,
Potentially having like a little bit of impact in something, but that's just my
yeah, I could see
imagination
that.
going there. Because, oh man, could you imagine if they do make the skill augments from your secondary archetype truly impactful in changing the skills, and then also the religious and also the society augments being impactful on damage and really changing it? That would be an insane number of things to balance, because as soon as you add one augment from the social system, that immediately doubles everything, because there's going to be
Yeah,
one with and one without for every other skill. I mean, I guess it doesn't double because you can't have multiple augments on a single skill, but still,
yeah.
it's going to add another instance of all the skills being calculated into the total.
Yeah, Nara says it depends on how many augments per skill can be active, though. Maybe it's just one. And that would make sense, having just one active at a time.
Yeah, I want to say Steven said something
Hello,
about that
Raka.
before. Like it's only going to be one augment per skill, and I think you have to spend points in order to do so. So you can only augment a certain number of them, something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Sir Ensington says, I wish Steven would have just would have gave us just one theory craft from different areas for augments, like religious augment for mage reduces mana cost of abilities by 5% or something like that. I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot that they're still fleshing out. So I wonder how much you can't really say for certain until they stand up those systems, right? But I don't know. And that's kind of why I wanted to touch on this real quick. So I feel like this goes really well into the Steven update on Twitter. Because Steven's the one running everything. Steven's got the everything planned, and he posted this on Twitter. He says, for many people, development updates on Ashes is an opportunity to check in with the project's progress. It can be exciting and a fun experience to sit down and watch a dream take form and come together. Functionally, these touch points offer a way for players to provide constructive feedback and help validate direction. But there's another side of this process that perhaps gets unnoticed. Each milestone, Intrepid comes together and celebrates our accomplishments. We reflect on the work we've done towards delivering on our goals. This culminates into a day long town hall where we review as a company our strengths and weaknesses. Introspectively, we carry forward changes we need to make in order to execute better and exemplify the things that worked well. Each town hall opens with a sizzle video of our community and their thoughts on what they saw us deliver. Some may not know it, but at Intrepid, our live stream day is watching and reading what you all think of our work. That is what motivates us and why I believe Intrepid will succeed. Congrats to the team on a very successful milestone 8 completion, onward and forward to milestone 9. I thought that was really, really awesome to hear. Stephen essentially confirmed that they completed a milestone, and I believe that was from today. So I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
But
Putting that out there for everyone.
yeah, hello, Grim Liberty, welcome in. Good evening. I told one truth and one lie.
Yeah.
Go ahead and fix what you were saying.
Yeah, I told one truth and one lie. So a character can have one active augment on any ability at a given time, but augments do not cost skill points. That was old information and thus fake news. It was previously stated that certain augments will have more expense required on the skill point side. So I guess they're not going to cost skill points. So I'm not sure how they're going to do it. Maybe there's just a limited number of them that you can have, or else I don't know. So it's not going to be more expensive for one as opposed to another, but you can still only have like 5 augments or something.
Right. And Wolfie Mickey, welcome in, says theory, weapon augs for everywhere, but religious only active in nodes that are holy and racial only active in race towns and home nodes.
Oh, that could be neat.
I think that's cool. It does add a variety of I guess unique options. I don't know how to express that, but I do know that there is going to be the augment on the node where the primary race of that node will have a different quest line from the same node on a different server with a different primary race. And so that alone is interesting and cool sounding.
Yeah, that would kind of be really neat.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine just knowing where you're at, what type of node you're in without seeing the town, just because you're seeing certain people run around of a certain race with different abilities going? Like
that'd be cool.
You just walk into like a forest or something and you see whatever the dwarven effect or skill would be, the augment just blasting as they're attacking things out in the woods. All right, dwarven know what it is. Time to move on.
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to present themselves in terms of racial augments and things like that. Problem with religious only and holy is that religious augments won't just be holy, there'll be dark death aspects as well, not just corruption. Just not corruption. Yeah, sorry. Excuse me, I got that a little bit turned around. Yes, I think that'd be interesting. Dwarven boat, I'll stay.
Yeah, that's
indeed, Mad Hatter.
Yeah, that was actually the thought I had shortly after saying that, is if there were racial augments that were active within that, racial node, or the node that's currently been influenced mostly by a specific race, for those who aren't in the know on what that means, it would basically be a self-perpetuating circle at that point, because a certain race would be more effective in a certain node. Therefore, they're going to probably spend more time in those types of nodes, therefore further cementing that race as the highest contributor, right?
Right. So the next thing I want to talk about is the dev discussion. We decided to hold on to this until tonight so that we can kind of give our opinions on it. And that is in general on item drops. So this was posted on April 2nd, so about a little over a week ago. What types of items and upgrades do you expect to drop from regular mobs? Do you feel good when a regular mob has a rare chance to drop powerful items? And I don't know how to feel about this because I think Ashes is going to be very different. I know there's some mixed feelings on mobs dropping items in general. Maybe it might have a higher chance of dropping a specific type of material the closer it is to certain nodes. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Your
Yeah.
dwarven node's gonna need spirits lifted augment after Frank I smash into.
Yeah, you saw that.
I like that.
So, yeah, as far as items and upgrades you expect to drop from regular mobs, I mean, regular stuff, I guess. Just nothing
Yeah.
crazy special. But yeah, I do always like the chance of having something rare and powerful or valuable and not really power associated to it, but just like a fist-sized diamond drops off of something out in the wild because it just happened to find a super expensive, gem floating around and thought it was pretty. Sure,
Yeah.
like that'd be kind of cool. Finding, a heavy hide on something that normally has light hide because it just happened to be a more hardy creature. It's been around the block, it's older, it's wiser, it's grown, it's lived the longest without a player slaying it, therefore it's grown more valuable resources when it does get slain.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really neat.
Nara says, I think we should respect the property rights of all mobs and just leave them alone. Players really go murder hobo on the pork, fellas. And then Sir Remington says, what's next? Common core skill trees?
Common core skill trees, oh no.
Grim Liberty says, nope, lower mobs shouldn't have any chance because even a 0.0001 happens all the time in MP RNG. I'm not exactly sure what MP RNG is. I know RNG part is, but not the MP. Wolfie McGee says, I would love to see something like just a hilt of a sword that you can take to a weaponsmith and get formed. I like that. Could see a system to improve a mob so it's no longer common. Okay. It should not be able to break the economy or shift the power struggle, but it should be able to make someone's day if it happens. Yeah. Oh, multiplayer.
Yeah.
Okay, multiplayer RNG. Got it.
Yeah, Mr. Valentine, that's kind of what I was looking at. Like nothing, like you're not gonna find a legendary. I mean, it'd be kind of neat if you could find it in other ways, but like a legendary staff crafting mat on literally a wolf in the woods. There's I guess a portion of realism that would say that yes, a wild animal can absolutely stumble across something valuable and think it's nifty and try to take it home and make a nest out of it or whatever, but we are in a game where we can control stuff like that, so why not? But yeah, I think it'd be neat if there was something that could just cause them to have a little better than average things. Like there's not just a set, it's going to be destroyed hide or thin hide only, but it could end up being like a majestic wolf hide or something like that, because it survived 4 days or a week without somebody slaying it, therefore it's grown old and wise.
Yeah. Mr. Ensington says, mobs that kill players should level up. And I responded with, you see a light shine off in the distance as a Tauren summoner takes another of your kin. Grim Liberty says, I once got a level 50 purple dagger from a chest when Blizzard made that mistake. Wow. That's pretty... pretty interesting. I like a small chance of rare drops from regular mobs, but perhaps not epic or legendary. Blue is fine. Yeah, I agree. I think if the if it's a regular mob, it should be only one tier above. I think that's what it should be. So if it's a gray mob, like a regular mob, it should be maybe more uncommon. If it's an uncommon mob, it should be rare, etc. Like going up the ladder to where like red names have a higher chance of dropping something, and then I don't know, because at the end of the day, also, I don't know if I really want a boss to drop. I mean, a boss could drop gear, but at the end of the day, I want it to drop items necessary to craft really good gear. And that comes down to the question that I have prepared for this week, which is in regards to item drops, do you prefer when items themselves drop or when they drop materials, especially in the idea of Ashes of Creation, knowing that crafted gear is going to be better than dropped gear? And that's something we'll discuss further the next week or the next time we have our stream. I do gain for oh, that went quick. I do like a gain for mobs that kill players. Yeah. Sharon's call had monsters actually leveling up when they killed players. Oh gosh, or other mobs. We leveled a rabbit up really high on our server. Oh my gosh.
That's bananas.
That's awesome.
That's bananas. And hey there, Muscles.
Hello, Muscles.
Welcome
yeah,
on
crafting
in.
mats for sure. I'm in the same mind frame.
Could you imagine a world boss that just decimates a raid or two worth of people? Just rolling around, just leveling up all day long as people try to take it down. Suddenly the world boss doesn't go from like 2 levels above everyone else, it's like 12 levels above everyone else.
Oh my gosh. And then it just it just wreaks havoc. The world boss needs a level cap.
Yeah.
Mr. Valentine says, with that, we know that mobs are not taken care of for a while. We can attack a node, and that's where monster coins come in. When that happens, should the mobs move up on a loot table? And that's a good question. I feel like if they become a greater threat, then absolutely.
I think the monsters attacking a town, see, that becomes really tricky because if you end up on one of those monsters as someone who has a loot or a monster coin, then either you're going to be able to plan with other people that you're going to just stand there and take the damage so that you can drop loot when you die, or you're just literally stripping loot away, which would be maybe motivation for you to go near enemy nodes and take over the monsters, because you're taking loot away and taking an active role and trying to tear stuff down.
Interesting. Nair says, actually, speaking of cosmetics, I would love if plants and birds and small mammals drop cosmetic pets as super rare drops. I think that'd be super cute. Definitely. General mobs, not the monster coined monsters, is what I meant. I understood what you meant. Could do that in Ultima Online beta as well. Was a tamer with a killer rabbit warren at my disposal. Wow,
that's hilarious.
Speaking of other games, why did you stop playing an MMO that you once loved? That is what this person on the forums is wondering. From Dripula.
Ooh. I have 3 examples.
Okay, go for it.
I'll state. Do you have just the one example, or do you have a couple?
I have 2.
Okay, well then I'll do one, then you do one, and we can trade back and forth.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll start with the really easy one, WildStar. I stopped because they stopped making the game and they shut it down.
Oh no. I stopped because it died.
That's it. That's the reason.
Rip. Hi, Magic Mistress. Welcome in. Well, Ultima Online MMORPG, that's going way back. Yeah, right. A lack of others to play with. Yeah, so that's actually, for me, World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was my lack of players to play with, and then it became the same damn thing over and over. Oh, happy happened to you too. Halfway through the week. Damn, rip your first SO Vertec so much.
I know. That was first wife. Oh. She left me. Worst of all, it wasn't for someone else. It was for nobody.
Oh no.
Left me for nobody.
Nara says same experience Vertex of mine's A1 in Ashes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, so my first one actually, because like that was the longest one I played, was World of Warcraft. Yeah, that was like 13, 14 years of my life. So
And why did you stop that one?
because I said like there's just not really anybody to play with, and it became the same damn stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll
Same
make
game,
my
different skin.
yeah, exactly. I'll make my second one the same, and that's World of Warcraft. I loved it for a long time, and then it turned into, while they did have mythic rating
Mm-hmm.
and mythic dungeons and whatnot, the rest of the game just started to get that cheap and cheesy kind of feel to it. And then they added
Although,
LFR, and that's like all anyone did. They either did LFR or they did mythic
oh
rating, and
gee,
I like to do the stuff in the
yeah,
middle because I'm
yeah,
competitive, but not that competitive. You know what I mean?
yeah,
so
exactly, Never. Theoretical.
so
Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Yes, thank you for the
Cheers.
sub. Cheers to you. Appreciate you.
Excuse me. Oh my
And
gosh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
all the same game loops coming back and not really listening to
Yeah.
some feedback and reintroducing some of the same mechanics for things without really changing them in the ways that people really wanted, that type of stuff. But that'd be my
a
second
few
one.
a few things from chat. Nurse says, "Wow, for me was when I realized it was a never-ending gear treadmill and way too long between updates." Yeah. Grim Liberty says, "This time I have 5 solid people who've dedicated 2 years to my cause. Once it starts, need 3 more, and I'll be super content." Nice.
Awesome.
Sarandon just says, "Yeah, why I stopped playing WoW. Those shoes don't have any more soles in them, and I'm not a barefoot walker." Oh my gosh, Magic! Thank you, Grim, for
Hey.
giving Magic Mistress a sub. Welcome into the patronship,
Yes.
and
Thank you, Grim Liberty.
cheers to that. And also,
Much
a hype train has
appreciated.
started.
Type train.
Hype
Thank you.
train. Thank you so much. Super appreciate it. So my second one is Final Fantasy. I thought that it was really unique compared to, oh my gosh.
And another
Thank
one.
you. Another one.
Another one. Thank you, Grim
Thank you,
Liberty. Thank you
Grim,
so
for
very
giving it
much.
to Mr. Valentine. Welcome in, Mr. Valentine, to the
And
patronship.
cheers again.
Cheers again. You keeping us hydrated over here. Oh my gosh. Yes, thank you for thanking your gifter. I appreciate that. Oh my gosh.
Holy mackerel. Okay.
Another one.
Another
Thank
one.
you so much. Oh my gosh. Cheers. All good. It's genuinely appreciated. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so very much. Very appreciated.
Never expected, always appreciated.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Final Fantasy. I played. I want to play other MMOs, honestly, and honestly, it came down to not liking the graphics or not getting into it. I couldn't get all the way into the game. But Final Fantasy 14 was the next one that I tried for a while, and we got pretty far. I think we got all the way to Endwalker or Shadow Walker, something like that.
Yeah, something around there.
But it was really cool. It was very different from World of Warcraft for me. I liked the very heavy storyline, but it felt like a little too heavy. This was also before they condensed everything for people, so that it was like not so heavy. We were legit following guides to figure out where we were in the leveling process to get through all of the old content.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I liked that you had one character and you can play all of the classes, and it was cool in that aspect because it lowered the amount of alts. But that being said, what made me quit that game was people, like, we didn't have a static group of people to play with, and the people that we were playing with at the time kept changing their mind on what they wanted to do, and eventually Vertec and I just logged off one day and never logged back on.
Yeah,
because I think we went through like 4 or 5 different class changes.
We were basically just trying to fit in with whatever they had for their current raid group and saying, hey, we can do any role, just let us know what we're doing. And they changed it like every week for like a month and a half. They just said, well, actually, could you do this instead? This is the last time. Like, it's just so and so just came back and they like to do that, so
Yeah.
and so we changed
And
up no
eventually,
lie 5 times.
yeah. And you just, I don't know. It wasn't like a decided thing. We just logged off one day and we were just like, eh. I don't feel like playing that.
Yeah. So I guess I had 4 examples because there was that one too. I think that one was traumatic enough that my brain just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly, Nair.
but
Grim Liberty says, I still play Lord of the Rings online with my wife sometimes, but I didn't like the top level grinds. Holidays are great fun and experience, though.
that's one I ended up never picking up. Not because of lack of interest, just too many games out there, too many things. Can't try them all.
Yeah.
And I would say my last one that I have as an example is Star Wars: The Old Republic. Loved so much about that game. It played well. I loved the storylines in it. Loved playing some of the, I forget what they called them, but basically like the raids and dungeons with the guild and whatnot. But
I didn't get a chance to play that because my computer did not like it.
yeah, it was great. I mean, even it's still alive these days, and it's still kicking. It's still doing well. They still keep putting out new stuff, and it's still one of the greatest single player MMO games out there. Like, you could play by yourself and just go through all the story and have a great time. Incredible story, but playing with a group, I liked it. And we were hoping when it went live, they were going to kick up a little bit of like a reason to be competitive in it or something. But instead, when it went live, they actually removed all reasons to be competitive. There was PvP outcomes, like the scoreboards were recorded for that game only, and then they went away. So there was nothing recording that long term. There was nothing really recording or showing off any prestige for finishing raids. Getting gear from raids or titles and things like that. Like, you could get gear from raids, don't get me wrong, but you could get the same exact gear by just doing some dailies. Not even like it looks similar or it's a downgraded version of, no, the same exact gear that you can get in the raid. You could get from doing some daily quests, and just some daily quests. I think I worked it out to something like within 3 weeks of doing dailies on just like 4 to 5 days a week, you could have half of a raid. Basically, you could equip a character with a full set of gear. So it was it just, there was no reason to do it. So we kind of walked away almost as an entire guild. We all just stopped playing.
That's fair. Mr. Valentine says, what is something from raids you hope Ashes will benchmark from other MMOs?
Something from raids that you hope Ashes will benchmark from other MMOs. The ability for a raid group to contend against a boss without contending against players at the same time. That's honestly the biggest thing, because everything else stems from that. Like, combat features inside a raid mean nothing if you can't experience them without knowing that you can just experience it. You're always going to be worried about PvP and players / raids rolling through and just picking on you and annoying you, hoping that you'll fight back so that they can demolish you, even one person at a time. All they got to do is start nitpicking at some players, and someone's going to fight back, and then the other raid can just destroy them. There's always going to be worries for stuff like that.
You liked the fight archetype? Nice. I thought that was pretty cool. I agree. I hope that they have things that you were talking about a second ago, which is things like titles and achievements for completing raids. I hope that there's things that are worthy for that. And I'm honestly interested. I don't have another game that I can compare Ashes to, in terms of the fact that, 80% of the content is open world, right? So I've never experienced an open world raid where there's PvP enabled for that. So I would be very curious to see how that works. And also they mentioned, the bosses being able to adjust their mechanics according to like them fighting you. And so like I'm curious to know, how does that work if it's not something that's, in a bubble, right? Like, is it based on like who tags it? Is it based on how well that person performs who's tagged it? I'm kind of curious, just as a software engineer, for like how that would work on the back end. But I don't know. I think, again, like last night we mentioned for a moment about, PvE and PvP, and like I think Ashes is gonna be a very different like feeling for PvEers than World of Warcraft, than Final Fantasy, right? And I think that's either going to be a hurdle a lot of people get over, or it's going to be the thing that makes a lot of people walk away. I have a feeling from the PvE side.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, just like Magic Mistress, PvP is not my favorite, but I'm open to it.
Yeah, I'm just hoping, and everything's subject to change, everything's subject to testing, etc., etc. It's said all the time, but it's very true. And who knows what they're going to balance or how they're going to adjust things in the future.
Yeah.
I hope for two things: either the sun is absolutely shining and there are no clouds, people that say that PvP isn't going to be impacting your life as much as you fear it is.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that is true, and there aren't going to be people that are constantly harassing raid groups. Or I hope that
will
they give us a
say,
way to lock a door so that once a raid group gets inside, they can be isolated with the boss. Fight people to get
yeah,
inside, but once you get inside, it's yours.
yeah. I will say, whatever is the case, the thing that everybody is going to need to remember is, you you have to remember at the beginning that people are probably going to be blood frenzy at the beginning, and then as the reality sinks in of the corruption system, if the corruption system is doing its job well, that as the game goes on, as we progress, that blood frenzy, that bloodlust is going to go down. And I feel like it will be like what Nara says, you will most likely be ganked for a reason in Ashes. That might not help you. But like they saw me out there foraging plants for my alchemy or whatever, and they want that plant,
Yeah.
that might be the reason, versus just seeing me running down a road and not knowing what I have on me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Also, Sir Ensington, Wardex can be a way to get around corruption, but also things like caravans. Like the people who are
yeah,
used to going around ganking, they're gonna try to jump caravans as their way to attack a small group of people just because they want to cause chaos.
yeah,
But again, also, I mean, there's so many different ways to get around corruption thing. Even if you just harass somebody enough and bother them enough, and like ping them enough with small little tip taps here and there, enough to annoy them, and they end up doing one little thing to fight back. That's gonna be right there. That's gonna be your way around corruption.
yeah. And Grim Liberty said Wardex will get around corruption, but so short a time, tankers wouldn't be as interested. Caravans will be the mean route, or gankers, not tankers, but yeah, gankers. Mr. Valentine says, on world boss event contention, should there be a craftable that deploys a shield that can isolate a boss? This item not being able to reactivate for a certain time period and an external force can break. What do you think?
I really like that question. I really like that idea, to be honest.
All good,
But
Grim Liberty.
I kind of like it if it's not going to be able to be deployed for a certain time period. I think that there should not be an external force that can break it. I think it should be something that you can place, and almost like a circle of protection, so to say. or even some kind of a spiritual binding between the raid group of whoever's using it and the boss. That way only they can damage each other or impact each other in some way. Almost like putting you in a different phase, really, when you think about it. If nobody else can hurt you or the boss, but they can run around in the same area.
Yeah.
But even something like that could be craftable. It requires a lot of different crafters to cooperate. It's a one-time use. It'll be a sought-after item that will drive some economy money.
Yeah.
We see the contest is getting in there to the boss, which they all have cooldowns, right? And some of them are not going to be, especially world bosses outside of raids have been stated to have an unpredictable cooldown. Inside raids, I don't think we've gotten clarification on that, like inside raids and dungeons. But if it is also an unpredictable cooldown, just getting to the boss as a group is going to be a contest and an achievement in itself, being able to fight the boss. So
if
you
it's
can
heavily combated, yeah.
Yeah.
Like EQ random spawn rates. Yeah, exactly. Another question from Mr. Valentine from last night says, with Ashes being a PvX game, I noticed during the last live stream, Steven stated that quest loot will not be personalized. With that, we will be taking a lot longer to clear areas for groups to finish quests. Do you think this competition for quest areas and spawns will cause PvP to break out? Should quest items be personalized or stay first come, first serve?
So with this one, in my opinion, it's very much contextual, I guess is the best word, because I've always thought it was really weird how you could go out in like every game in existence, right, as a solo person, and the quest giver will say, oh my gosh, I can't even survive in life because I'm gonna die if I don't have 3 tiger claws, or whatever the quest says. But it really ultimately comes down to something crazy is gonna happen, or their house is gonna be stolen from them if they don't collect 3 of these things. So you go out on your own and you find 3 and you come back and they're like, oh, thank you so much, you've saved the day, yay, my family can live again. But if you go out in a party of 5, then all of you need to bring in 3 each. So now the person doesn't need 3 to save their day, save their life, save their farm, their family, whatever. They actually needed 15. They just didn't tell you that when you all left. And it feels kind of weird. We need to thin the population of elk in the area because they're starting to eat too many of the plants, and thus other things can't live and survive. Could be like a druid quest, like we just need to balance the population or whatever. And you go out and again, like, we need to balance the population. Well, if one person has to slay a certain number of them, but then everybody gets them, and now everybody has to kill that same number, well, that's not really balancing it very well if it was actually calculated by a druid that knows that stuff, right? So the same thing with like loot that drops and you have to turn it in, or rewards even that are supposed to drop from slaying a certain thing. I think it's all contextual. Some of them yes, some of them no. When it comes to collecting things, I also think the contextual part needs to be, if they needed a certain number to accomplish a goal, then that should count for the entire group. If they needed a certain number for you to prove yourself, then that should be individual. Everybody should have to get their own.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look through this because like what Grim Liberty says, but the quests are shareable, so you'd only need 3 if it says 3.
Well, that's if I recall, didn't Steven say that if it says you need to kill 3 things, then you need to kill 3 things, but if you need to collect a certain number, then you need to collect them? Or it was the other way around, I forget. I'm trying to look up that was.
I forgot as well. Party leader turns it in and everyone gets rewarded. This is a party game after all. Yeah. Kill quests are shared, but items are not.
Okay.
Nair says, I would have preferred if the entire group shared the quest drops just like they shared the killed numbers. Item collect things were individual. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, I could see it being a contextual thing though. Like if you're trying to like join a monk order or something and they need you to go collect a certain number of whatevers in order to prove your worth because they're in 3 different locations or 3 different types of creatures or whatever the case is, then each of you needs to prove your worth separately.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of pretty much all I had on the list for right now. And we're actually at about an hour, so this covered pretty well today.
Never.
20 bear to join a monk order. Yeah, 20 asses it is.
Yeah, and Magic Mistress,
Ashes
I
is
would.
going to,
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah.
put that one up because that's actually a very good point. Like, no matter what my complaints or disagreements with are on some aspects of the game design, in the end, I'm still absolutely looking forward to playing because just
Yeah.
it's gonna be different. It just in everything combined, there has been no other game with this kind of combination of features as well as a few of them are brand new. So
Right. Right.
all of that combined in, like, I'm still super excited no matter what gripes I may have about any individual portion of the game. I'm just kind of airing out my thoughts is all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, the way that I'm going to go about Ashes and all of my responses, just for anybody listening to this, either in the future or currently, all of my responses are honest responses to how I feel right now. But I promise, like when I go to test games, I always go in with a blank mindset. Like when we go to play Sea of Thieves this last Sunday, or even the previous Sunday when I was trying it for the first time, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't go in with any expectations. And I always approach testing out games in such a manner. It's like really weird to put it this way, but it's kind of like when you're dating. You never want to like reference your current partner for a previous partner, right? Because they're two very different people. Like you know what to look out for, what you didn't like from a previous partner, or what you liked from a previous partner. Same thing with games. I know what I've liked from previous games, what I don't like from previous games, but I always try to go in with like an open mind and a blank slate for games, especially when I'm trying them out for the first time. And I try to get involved in it and like pretend I've never played any of these other games until I get my footing in. And then once I get a good handle, then I start kind of comparing. So I'm really excited. I can tell, we can tell that Intrepid has done a lot of hard work. I mean, look at the skill tree, look at the fighter, look at like the Renkai, like they're starting to show a lot more stuff. We're really excited to see what Alpha 2 is bringing. There's a lot of systems that they've been working really, really hard on. And I'm just very excited to experience all of them together. And we've been given a snapshot of that. And honestly, I really loved this. It was very consecutive, right? The last 2 live streams. There was the previous one where they were just going about and I forgot what they were showing. I think it was the commissions. And then that opened the Oakenbane where they then went in with the fighter. And I really liked that linearness of it. You got to see how that reacted in a way.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That was like that.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, the way I see it is yesterday, Lineker and I had our moment to just talk randomly and for forever. So, if that's what you're referring to by the blah, like,
yeah, I just kind of dumped.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I was enjoying listening to what you had to say.
Okay.
But I posted it up. I did a highlight on it, but Mr. Valentine makes a good point here as well, which is I think with side quests, if the group has to repeat it multiple times, I think people won't want to do it. They will just pass on completing it because it's tedious.
Right.
Agreed. And that's why I also I've also had the idea that it should be something that's contextual, or if the entire group needs to get their own, or if you can just share it and be like, yeah, we got the 5 pig's feet you needed. Here you go. You only asked for 5, and us 5 people went out and got 1 each.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something that's going to be progressing a storyline of a node or progressing a storyline of, you know, a certain area or a certain feature of the game, and again, it's like you need to prove yourself to be entering into whatever contract or society.
Yeah.
Something like
yeah.
that.
And Magic Mistress, if you like Ultima Online, I would suggest Zillin. Zillin loves Ultima Online. He likes to talk about it a lot. I've never played it, but it sounds like it was a fun game in its heyday. But yeah, just what I've seen from they put hundreds, thousand man hours into the game to improve it from Alpha 1 state. Exactly, like it's changed a lot. And Muscle says the game looks great. It's going to be a hard game though, not going to be easy. And I like that. I'm excited for that. I'm just worried on how all of the systems are going to play together with it being open world PvP. But I'm excited to try it. I'm excited to see how it works. Made the maximum amount of money placing houses for people in UO. Nice.
Yeah. I'm going to jump on the UO bandwagon with everybody and say that, yes, I miss me some Ultima Online
You played
in
it?
a serious way. Yeah, Ultima Online was great.
Gosh.
So many systems
awesome.
in there were neat. I just liked how you could retrain your character. If you decided to go for a full tilt strength build, you could reverse that and gain some intelligence back by saying you want to lose strength, and you start doing things to build intelligence, and it slowly starts to balance the needle.
Yeah.
But,
one final thought. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
Oh no, almost. I was just gonna say with that, I kept saying that there needs to be a more modern version of Ultima Online. That way people don't get, you know, turned off by the graphics and they would still want to play. And then they tried to build one and it turned out like a train wreck. So I'll not be saying that again. They just didn't build the game well.
Red Bear, welcome in, by the way, says for Collect X solo versus group, I think you can basically get around that by having the NPC say something like, I need 1,200, but if you get me 12, that's fine.
I like that.
12's okay. Yeah.
I like that.
And yeah, that's my problem. Honestly, I feel bad. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, that's my issue. I want to try some of these older games, but the hardest part for me is going to be getting past the graphics. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be so hard for me. We have been so spoiled in this day and age with great graphics. So yeah, but I do love the idea of working together to get stuff done and things like that. So I'm really excited, and I feel like we had a really good conversation today, and Loreforged is live now. And I would like to head over to them and let them kick it off.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
No. I insist.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Much appreciated. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the gift subs.
Yes, absolutely.
You're a superhero.
Nice. You're just here for the ending. Perfect
look
timing.
Look at this guy. Yeah, nice. Your timing is absolutely perfect. But yes, thank you everybody for hanging out. Appreciate you so much, just spending your time here and chatting and hanging out with us. It's the greatest kind of support you can possibly give us. And we love every letter of it that you type and every moment of it that you spend here.
And honestly, we really appreciate you giving us your time. And we hope you have a wonderful week if we don't see you again before Tuesday.
Get this raid thing started here.
I got it started.
Oh, you did get it started? Okay, I don't see it.
Yeah, let me do it again. Sorry, I put an @
Oh.
Oh, go away.
All right, there we go.
There we go.
All right, so yes, take care, everyone. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and we will catch you next time.
In the meantime, join us for a Sleepy Owl raid.
Yes, to get the Sleepy Owl. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.